warmth and rest. So that's the basic. So if you ask these people, they will say, I just want a little bit of food for my life. That's what they will ask. I just wish I had a nice warm meal at the end of the day. Like that they would ask. So even higher than that, so imagine those people who have these things: food, water, warmth, and rest. Then comes the next level, which is called safety needs. Security. So most people, they would want safety needs after this. Let's say they have food, they have warmth, they have water, they have everything, right? But they live in a house where they are not safe, or they live in a country where they are not safe. For example, coronavirus is everywhere now, right? Especially in some countries, which is very, very dangerous. So safety is a question mark. So then there are some people who live in war zones. Even they have food, they may have water, but anytime suddenly, like imagine if you're living in Palestine or in Israel, right? Or the Middle East. One day something would happen. A missile may just come and strike you and you might die. So like this, security, or some people, they will have food, they will have water, they will have a place to sleep, but they live with a family where the family tortures them, abuse. So this kind of needs are there. So let me look at the chat. Most people only want to be rich because they think money solves problems. But boy, are they wrong. Yes, we'll talk about that. Thank you for that statement, Aditya. So next, those people who have safety, then their minds open up, and then they want something further than just safety. They want to feel belonging. They want to feel loved, right? So they want to have intimate relationships. They want to have friendships. They want to have people. So that is the third level. So like that, then imagine those people have them, right? Then they will start looking for even more esteem. It's not enough that they have friends. It's not enough that they have relationship. They want to be the best of friends. They want to have the best relationship. They want people to respect them and to glorify them and say, you are the best lah, are you? So they want that, like that. So esteem needs start to develop. So this is where greed comes in. Then finally, there are some very rare people in this world who actually come to this level, self-actualization. They want something worthy. They want their life to have a purpose, to have a goal, which makes them happy. Just having that goal in life, just doing. Now, example, there are some people who dedicate their lives fully for charity. They just give themselves away. They don't want to do anything else. They just serve. There are some people like that. There are some people who join, for example, the worldwide nature or something like that, UNESCO, or, dedicate their lives in this kind of services, or, they just become some kind of activist. So these are people with higher motivation. So some of the people's wishes can also be categorized under here. Now, most people will have the most basic ones. So this is called, it's not new, this is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs by this social scientist called Abraham Maslow. So he actually developed this. Now let's talk a bit more about that. Now, the basic one is the safety need and the physiological need. This is basic. Most people, most people in Malaysia, they have these two, right? So this is where your eating, sleeping, mating, and defending comes into the picture. Some people who don't have this, this is their basic requirement. And then those who do have the basic requirement, they start developing a need for higher things, psychological requirement. They want to feel valued. They want to feel loved. They want to have accomplishment of doing something. Now it's interesting, but playing computer games comes under one of these. Not under belonging and love, it comes under esteem. Like this is what some children or some young people, that's why they like to prove themselves. They want to play computer game and they want to become the best in the computer game. It's not enough that they just play it. They want to be the best amongst their school friends, or they want to be the best amongst, other things. So same thing with sports. So some people like to go roller skating, or some people like to do dancing. I want to be the best. So there is a psychological need here. So in this way, then, but what's the sad thing here is that sometimes people even bring eating, sleeping, mating, and defending into the psychological needs. They start talking about it's no longer a requirement. It becomes a psychological requirement. It's no longer a basic requirement. It becomes a psychological requirement. It becomes upgraded. So people start having relationships, right? Mating, defending, and all these things comes under here. They don't need, it's not just, it becomes their goal of life. Why do they do what they do? Because, have you heard the proverb, we eat to live? But some people say they live to eat. Their entire lifestyle is to go in different restaurants in different places and eat every single living creature on earth and taste its flesh. So there are some people like that. Chari makan, that kind of mentality. So that is this kind of, they have actually elevated eating, sleeping, mating, and defending to a much higher level. So that is what is the problem. So when the genie comes, somebody will say, I give me all the food that I can eat in this world, all my life. I want the most expensive, the most tastiest desserts or whatever. So this it becomes psychological problem. So it's interesting that the higher levels unlock only when the lower levels are met. For example, safety is met, then only belongingness and love comes. After this is met, then only esteem starts to come, right? And it's also interesting that higher level needs can override lower level needs. Now, what do I mean by this? That means someone who is interested in getting self-esteem, for example, if you are very passionate about computer game, or if you're very passionate about some kind of sports, you wouldn't mind missing your dinner, you wouldn't mind missing sleep, right? You wouldn't even mind missing socialization, simply because you want to achieve this. You know what I mean, right? So this is what happens when higher levels can actually override lower levels. Now, this is both good and bad. It depends on the type of activity. Okay, so now enough of this, but a little bit, why I bring this up is because I have a reason. If you just hold on a little, I will tell you what's the reason. Now, this power, beauty, fame, knowledge, opulence, right? Some of you have had this kind of wishes. So just now, I think, Aditya, you mentioned you wanted to have a positive outlook. So that is interesting because that would come under self-actualization. It's a higher need. You want to have a positive outlook. But it's interesting also that we have a shape of a triangle. Why this triangle shape? Because triangle means there is something at the very top. That it's all going towards one direction. What is the purpose of this physiological safety, belonging, esteem, self-actualization? What's the purpose of power, beauty, fame, knowledge, opulence? What do you get out of this? Suppose the genie blesses you with all your desires. You have knowledge, you have money, right? Just like the Brahmana. The Brahmana had all these things. So what does he want? Why do they want all these things? Why do they want to be popular? Why do they want to have a different outlook in life? Why do they want to have opulence? Anyone can give an answer? This comes to my second question I asked in the link. I asked you to tell me why you wish for this. Because this question is much more important than the first question. Can anyone tell me? Someone said before in the link that because I don't want to get teased by people. All right. But that doesn't really give the ultimate reason why you want this. Why do you not want to get teased? That is the type of question you need to ask. What is it you're looking for? So some people, they have said, I think Nanda Kumar mentioned, I want to play computer game all the time without any disturbance. Why? So that I don't get disturbed. Yes, but why? Why do you want to play computer game 24 hours a day? What does it give you? So like that, do you understand what I'm saying? So can anyone tell me, what is the final aim? What do people want in all this? Opulence, knowledge, fame, and all that. Come, put in your chat or come and speak out.
They want that because probably they don't have it.
They want it because they don't have it. But once they have it, what will that give them? What, just having it, what does it make the person feel? Why does the person want to have it? Just simply because they don't have it? Suppose I wanted a new car, right? Let's say all my life I wanted a Ferrari car, for example. And then finally you get the Ferrari car. So what do you get out of it? I want the word. Can anyone give me the word? What's the goal of all these things?
Success.
Success. Yes, thank you. That is one goal. Like this. So you want a taste of success. Now, the taste of success will give you what? Why do you want the taste of success?
Happiness.
Yeah. Say it.
Happiness and satisfaction.
Who said that?
Shamsun.
Shamasundar. Yeah. So you said satisfaction. Very good answer. You said happiness. Very good answer. So let's see some more. They want to feel respected and satisfied. Yeah, why they want to feel respected? Because they want to feel satisfied. So these are very good answers. Yeah. So satisfaction, success, but success is actually not the final thing, because what will success give you? So you answered it, satisfaction, and you also answered that it will give happiness. Anything else you think you want to say? Anyone else? There is one more word which is usually people will say it. For example, I give you a clue. The person who said, I want people to not tease me. That will give, this word will give that. Okay, Aditya said thrill. Thrill is also a good thing, but what does that thrill give you? You want to feel thrill for what?
Fame and glory.
Fame and glory. Yeah, why? Fame and glory is fame, yeah? But why fame? What if you get fame, how does that make you feel? That's the type of question you need to ask yourself.
It satisfies our false ego.
Yes. So satisfaction. So again, satisfaction. Why do you want thrill? Because it makes you feel not satisfied, I think. You don't get thrills for satisfaction. Maybe happy. Yes. Yes. But I'm still missing that one more word. I gave the clue. You want, it starts with P.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Okay, that's the same as happiness. This is P-E-A-C-E. Peace. You all missed that also, isn't it? So a lot of people would not, I mean, some people will understand what I'm talking about, right? If you have lived your life in such a way that it was not really happy, you would want to look for peace. So peace, satisfaction, and happiness, these are three important points, okay? So let's take these 3 points. This is then the goal. You know, the top of the triangle, you can see the top of this very triangle. The goal, why we do everything, why we want power, why we want beauty, why we want fame, why we want knowledge, why we want opulence. So many people say success, but yes, why do I want success? Why? Because I want to feel set. Some people, they feel satisfied when they get these things. Some people, they feel pleasure or happiness when they get these things. Some people feel peaceful. But peace doesn't really come directly. It's more of a, people just leave me alone, lah, that kind of thing. But you need to have peace first before you can even have these things, right? Do we all agree with what I'm saying? Anyone disagrees? Please feel free to disagree. We can have an interesting discussion. You all agree?
Yes, probably we agree.
Okay. Okay, so that's nice. So that's why I wanted to ask you why you chose that wish, because I wanted you to narrow down, think deeply. You need to identify the root of what you're looking for in order for you to achieve what you want. So if you identify that ultimately you want to be happy, satisfied, or peaceful, that's very good. That means you have understood the goal. Now let us think about what can give you peace, what can give you real satisfaction, and what can give you real happiness, and what cannot give you these things. So I just want you to look at this. These days, right, we see some of these things. We see bigger, fancier houses. Some of us might have wanted to wish this. You might have passed some of the houses, and you might have said, oh, I wish I lived in such a house. But despite the big fancy houses, which we have never seen in those days, we find much more smaller, broken families living in those houses. Just 2-3 people living in that such big house, right? And they're broken. It's nuclear families. These days we call them nuclear families. Nuclear means it's not joint. They don't go back to their grandparents for holidays. They don't have their uncles and aunties visiting them every few days. They don't have a relationship with their cousins or brothers or sisters. Everybody has their own room, shut up in their own houses. And that's it. They sometimes don't even see each other. They all have their own meal times. The father will come down for lunch, but then the mother will come down only in the evening. So, smaller, broken families. This is becoming more and more. I'm not simply exaggerating. The statistics show it. This is happening more and more. We have many more conveniences. So we have all kinds of, gadgets, tabs, phones, computers, PlayStations, virtual reality, neural network, a kind of, mind machine interface. So this is all coming into the stream. Many more conveniences. You press a button and you get something. Now you have Grab. You feel like hungry, you don't even have to take your, go and look for it. You don't have to wait in the queue. You just have to order. And hopefully it comes without the fella spitting on your food. I'm just joking. Okay. But despite all these conveniences, why this convenience? It's called convenience because it saves time, isn't it? Why is it called convenience? Because last time you want water, you have to go out of your house, you have to take a bucket, you have to go to the well, you have to go and put the bucket, and then, you have to slowly carry the water, and then you have to bring the water back, and then you have to pour it into your vessels, and then you have to pour it into your cup, and then you have to sit, and then you have to drink. That's when you get water. But nowadays, you just press the button, ting, and then you put a cup and the water is there. Or even somebody will bring the water for you. Much more conveniences, but still we find ourselves having much less time. People in those days, even myself, I remember when I was young, I used to just stare at the clouds. I was free. I could, in my afternoons, I could just read storybooks. I could just stare at the clouds. I used to imagine the different shapes in the clouds. It's very peaceful. You may think, okay, is this person brain dead or what? Why is he thinking like that? Okay, but what it did was, it was very peaceful, no stress. But now I am telling you that I have no time. I'm fighting for time for every single moment. Despite all this, I have computers. We have this facial Facebook account. I got no time to look through my messages. I have so many messages. I just don't have time to look through my emails. Every day I get 40, 50 emails. So it's horrible. We have much less time. So why is that? It's interesting, isn't it? So there's a very interesting French novelist. You know, some of you may argue, but why? I'm not bothered about time. But there's a French novelist called Marc Levy who wrote a very nice poem. He said, listen to it very carefully. If you want to know the value of 1 year, now if I tell you 1 year, what's the value of 1 year? Just ask a student who failed a course. For example, you're in a university, you failed a course. You have to repeat that 1 year. Ayo, I have to repeat the entire 1 year. So then you know the value of 1 year, isn't it? So like that, there are many. I'm sure you all can also give your own points. If you want to know the value of 1 month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature baby. You know, if a mother gave birth to a baby prematurely, the baby has to be in ICU and it's not fully developed. And imagine the trauma and the suffering they have to go through. So that's the value of 1 month. The mother will be thinking, she'll tell the genie, if only I had 1 month, can you give me 1 month extra for the baby? If you want to know the value of 1 day, ask the person who is studying last minute for his SPM. Every day would matter, isn't it? Every 1 day would matter, right? You all would know this. So I hope nobody is doing last minute. You should at least think, you know, every 1 month matters. Now, if you want to know the value of 1 hour, you might say 1 hour only what? I just pass it away just like that. So if you want to know the value of 1 hour, ask the overworked, tired person who desperately needs to sleep. Have you all ever been in that situation? Then you would understand. Or the student who didn't finish his exam questions in time. If only I had 1 more hour, I could have finished that essay. I could have done that extra 2 questions. Isn't it? So this is the value of time. If you want to know the value of 1 minute, oh, just 1 minute, what is 1 minute to me? Ask the person who just missed the bus or just missed the train. 1 minute earlier, he could have taken that bus or train, important bus or important train. If you want to know the value of 1 second, do you think 1 second is valuable? Ask the person who just escaped death in a car accident. A 1 second, split second, he didn't brake. Or, you know, someone shoots the bullet at you, shoots at you. 1 second more, you could have taken to miss the bullet. Or, you know, in a car accident. This is very important. And if you want to know the value of 1/100th of a second, then ask the athlete who won a silver medal in the Olympics. Then you will know the value of 1/100th of a second to that person, isn't it? So therefore, that's unfortunate for us because we have more conveniences, but we find ourselves having much less time. And then we see also there are so many degrees. Now we have so many universities, so many schools, everywhere cropping up one college, and they have all kinds of degrees. And you know, and still, it should mean a lot of good things. It should mean a lot of good things. But unfortunately, we see people behaving like as if they have no education, right? Now, this is a picture of a car bully. Just someone bang you somewhere, they lose their temper like anything, like as if they just murdered them or what. So they become so angry. I'm sure you would have heard about this living in Malaysia. This is a very common thing. Malaysians have this problem, right? So people behave, despite education, despite people having more degrees, but they act in more uncivilized way. They don't even know how to eat properly sometimes. They don't even know how to talk properly. They act in a very low class manner. So, and you know, one should have more degree means one should know better about things, right? Is it? Presumably one should know about the goal of life. One should know about how some people don't even know how to take care of their own health. They have degrees, masters, PhD or whatever, but they don't even know how to take care of their own health. They need people to tell them what you shouldn't eat, what you should eat. You know, the rate of diabetes in Malaysia is one of the highest in Southeast Asia. Heart attack, all these things, it doesn't help. We have certainly no shortages of experts. We have specialists, we have consultants, all kinds of people with great meetings and everything. But we still find we have never-ending problems. Despite having so many experts, for every single problem in life, we have another problem cropping up. For example, in the early 1800s, oh, it is so difficult for us to walk from one place to another. If only I had a car. Oh, genie, give me a car or something which a wagon. You know, I don't want these bullocks. I want a wagon which will drive on its own. So then later, James Watt invented the steam engine in the 1800s. And then the steam engine was fitted to a car, and therefore we had the world's first car, an automobile. But you know, it was a big problem. It used to explode here and there. So it was rather unreliable, but still, you know, they called it progress. Then they thought, okay, now I think I need better roads. So they're like that. Then they said, oh, this steam engine is not good. It's very unreliable. So then they discovered fossil fuel, you know, petroleum. Oh, then petroleum gives a very good energy. We can now have electricity all over the country. We can burn coal. Then they found, oh, it is creating lots of pollution. We need better roads. And then the better roads led to more traffic jam. And the traffic jam led to more car accidents and more frustration and heart attacks and all kinds of things. And then we have air pollution. And because you need to build the car, you need factories. And because you need factories, you need to have mines to dig for all everywhere. And all these things, eventually, where do they throw all these old things? They throw it in the garbage dump, or sometimes it ends up in the sea. Then they thought, okay, why not have hydroelectric? Then hydroelectric creates, oh, free, or the water is coming down. No pollution. But it destroys the forests. And because it destroys forests, it creates flooding, lack of water. Do you know, water crisis is considered the next major crisis in the world? The experts predict that we are going to have to fight for water, not fight for oil, like how they fought in the Iraq wars, but fight for water. So this is happening. Then they thought, oh, okay, nuclear power, this is even better. Okay, then we had huge problems with nuclear power. You all can read up the Bhopal disaster, read up, you know, in Russia, the Chernobyl disaster. So like that, Fukushima, we just heard about it recently, or not a few years ago in Japan. So these are very bad things where the entire country, the entire state, people cannot live already. Chernobyl, nobody stays there. The entire state of Chernobyl is deserted because of a nuclear disaster. People develop all kinds of problems. Then they thought, the latest now is what? Solar power. Solar energy, okay, directly harnessed from the sun. But do you know, solar energy has a big problem? The problem with solar energy is that you need solar panels. And the solar panels are not very effective. The early solar panels are not very good. So they now, you know what's in the solar panel? They put rare earth elements. You know what's rare earth elements? Have you heard of Linus? I'm sure you might have heard about it in the news. So this is and we found rare earth in Kedah also. So this is very dangerous metals also because it can cause a lot of pollution and it's very expensive. So the problem with these solar panels, it has a lot of rare earth material and it has a lot of plumbum and lead, which makes it difficult for you to throw away. Where are you going to throw? There's no recycling for solar panels at the moment. So in another few years, we are going to find solar panels causing environmental problem. So anyway, I can go on and on and on and on. But the point is, you know, you can read some of these points, right? We have so many experts, so many degrees, but we have 100 billion kilograms of plastic found in the ocean. Can you imagine? 100 billion, not million, billion kilograms of plastic found in the oceans. And we have, how many zeros is this? Million, billion, okay. This is 21 billion kilos of trash each year, which out of only 16% is recycled. Can you imagine what will happen to the earth in another few more years in this trajectory? So for every advancement, so-called advancement human beings make, they only create, so far, more problems. So then the French author goes on, certainly more medicines. We certainly need more medicines. We have more medicines than we ever had. We have vaccines, they're very proud of it. But you know, those days also, people didn't have so many types of diseases. More medicines, but so much less wellness. When I was young, I hardly heard about, what's that word? There are certain diseases which we hardly hear about, but now it's become common. You know, mental problems, even physically, more and more children are born with Down syndrome. More and more people are born with, what do you call, oh yeah, I forgot that word. Komadaki, what's that? The syndrome children are born with, the one vaccines can. No, altruism. Is it altruism? What is it? Something like that. Children, they have this, the opposite to a child almost.
Prabhu, is it Down syndrome?
No, not Down. There's another
Autism.
one. Autism. Yes, thank you for that word. It just disappeared from my mind. Autism. Yes. So there are some people who link. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I'm just saying what's happening in the world. There are some people who link certain cases of autism to the direct cause of vaccines. But this is a very controversial topic, so we don't want to discuss about that. But certainly, autism was not seen during my time when I was young. Nobody I knew had autism. But now I can easily count with my fingers many people who do have. So what's happening? Something is going wrong somewhere, right? We have taller buildings, but shorter tempers, right? I already mentioned that. Wider freeways, but narrower viewpoints. So this is just poetic, but it's true. Why narrower viewpoints? Because many people you see are nowadays very narrow-minded. They don't go further. They don't go further in their thinking. Later, I will tell you a story about how, like, you know, when, never mind, I'm getting ahead of myself. Later, I will mention this point a bit more. Narrower viewpoints. People spend too recklessly. Now we have so many online apps, we have malls, people just spend. But do you know the bankruptcy rate among young people in Malaysia is extremely high? It's 30% almost. So people are using credit cards, simply spending. I need this, I need that, I need that. They don't earn enough. They have very high standard of living. And then I need this, I need that, I need subscription for Astro, for Netflix, for internet, for so many things they pay for with their small pocket money. And then they end up bankrupt. So this is happening, right? Spend too recklessly, laugh too little. So it's not translating. Somehow it's not translating into neither satisfaction, peace, or happiness. Spend more, but enjoy less. Learned how to make a living. You can see here a picture of a family, so-called all sitting together, but what are they doing? Are they having a wonderful relationship with themselves? They are probably answering each other in the WhatsApps. Nowadays, people say happy birthday in WhatsApps, but in real life, they hardly say anything. So this is the problem. Learn how to make a living, but not a life. So people end up having no life. What the quality of their lives is extremely pathetic already nowadays. They only know how to work, go home, sleep. Next day, reset, work, eat very useless, lousy meals, and then sleep. And then again, reset, work. So this is what happens. And they don't even understand the higher purposes or, you know, the better things in life. So people have become like this. Now, let me just show you a bit. This is a picture of a castle in Lithuania. Very beautiful country. It's in Europe, right? Would you like to live in such a country? This is what they do in their holidays. When they get holiday, public holiday, everybody goes in a hot air balloon and flies in this country. Looks nice, isn't it? Some of us think that it's beautiful. If only if only I had a genie, if only I wished there, if only I lived there, they may think. So this is where it is, Lithuania, right? Now, why I'm putting this country? This country has a terrible secret. You know, the pictures I showed you looks very nice, looks very interesting, very nice to go there and visit. But there's a terrible secret about this country. The secret is almost 1/3 of all deaths in this country is by suicide, kill themselves. Beautiful country, but can you imagine 1/3 of all deaths, including diseases and everything, 1/3 of it is by suicide. Now that's very interesting and very tragic. Now this is, anyone recognizes this country? I'm sorry, I'm not really looking at the chat. Okay, let me look at the chat a little.
Is it Russia?
Yes, it is Russia. Why? Because you recognize the Kremlin, isn't it? This building here, Kremlin. So yeah, so this is Russia. It looks very nice, but Russia is number 3 or number 2 in the highest ranking of suicide in the world. And then we have South Korea. You wouldn't have thought that this would come anywhere, but it is actually number 4 in the list amongst the countries with the highest suicide rates. You can see, very beautiful, very advanced, like Singapore, right? Some of the world's best universities, very fast internet connection, super modern technologies, right? It's very wonderful, but we have this kind of problem. So if you look at this list, now if you go to this website, I put this website for you, worldpopulationreview.com, countries, suicide by rate. This is 2019 data, not so long ago. Number 1 country for suicide is Lithuania. Number 2 country is Russia. Number 4 country is South Korea. Number 11 is Belgium. Number 12, Hungary. Number 14, Japan. 17, France. Switzerland is number 18. Finland, 24. Austria, 26. 27, Sweden. Portugal, Iceland. Germany is in the list, top 40. Luxembourg, top. And Australia, Denmark, Netherlands, Canada, Norway, goes on. Very interesting. So, anyone sees a pattern here? Is there an observation you want to make from this list of top suicide rates? What kind of countries are in this list?
Luxurious countries.
Yes. You find that these countries are rich countries. Do you know Luxembourg has the number 3 top GDP in the world? GDP means gross domestic product. That means each person gets most money. So number 3 in the world is Luxembourg. And you see here, and you might think Switzerland, oh, Switzerland is so beautiful. Why would people commit suicide in Switzerland? But that's the case. It's number 18 in the list. So you can see a lot of rich countries. So then this would make you think, is prosperity really all that it is? So there is this person here. He's called Richard Easterling. He is a professor of economics at the University of Southern California, and he did a study which he published in this journal. What was that study? So he compared the top countries for suicide, and he also looked at the bottom countries for suicide. Which countries have the least suicide rates? So USA, by the way, is number 34. So this is the least countries with suicide. Now the last one, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Grenada, Bahamas, Jamaica, Okay, Kuwait is a rich country, but very few population. Maldives, you will see that many of these countries are one of the world's poorest. You can see here, number 184, South Sudan. It's 138 in the list. Madagascar, 137th in the list. Tonga, Tunisia, very low. Philippines, so low in the list, right? And Malaysia is 110. It's not in, luckily somewhere in the middle, right? Malaysia is 110 in suicide, but 50th, I mean, 2019 is the 50 most wealthiest country. So Richard Easterling, he compared these two, and then he said that he came up with what he calls the Easterlin Paradox. So the Easterlin Paradox says that it's not wealth, it's not money or how rich you are or how wealthy you are, which decides one's happiness. Because why would people commit suicide? It's because they are not, number one, peaceful. They may be successful. Later, I'll prove to you. They may be successful, but somehow they are not peaceful. They are not happy, and they are not satisfied with all these things. So that's why they would, what would drive a person to commit suicide? Now, this is annual number of deaths in 2016 all over the world. If you look at all over the world, the number one cause of death is cardiovascular disease. Okay, this one everybody knows, right? This one everybody knows. Then number two killer is cancer. This also everybody knows. Number three killer is respiratory disease. Now like COVID. So that time there was no COVID. So now add another 2 million. It comes up to about 5 million, lah, if you can say. But do you know suicide is 0.81 million in the world? Now, 2 years already, COVID only killed 2 million people. 2 million people COVID has killed all over the world in 2 years. So in 1 year, 1 million it kills. Can you imagine suicide is almost the same level? And nobody talks about that in the newspapers. Whereas COVID, every day there's a death rate, right? Almost just a little bit only. And suicide is even higher than homicide. Can you imagine? Homicide means murder. There are more people, no need to bother murdering people because people are just killing themselves more than people are getting murdered. Can you imagine? So there is more suicide compared to even murder cases, 3 times more. Now that is very troubling. What's happening? And you can see here, even fire, conflict, war, terrorism, natural disasters, all of them has caused less deaths compared to suicide. You plus all the natural disasters together and all the war together in 1 year, and you will find that suicide still beats the list. So that's very interesting. I hope you all think about this very carefully. So if you don't believe me further, I've put a list here. You can go to this Wikipedia list of suicides in the 21st century. You will find, interestingly, people who have money, wealth, fame, power, beauty, this achievement, success, these people are the types also who have committed suicide. You will find, it's amazing how many people you will find there. Celebrities, for example, Marilyn Monroe, if you have not heard of her. This is before your time, but very, very popular. She was President Kennedy's having an affair with him. Whitney Houston, it's not, they don't formally say it's suicide, but a lot of people assume it's suicide. Her life has not been good. She married Bobby Brown and had abused by him, never had love with him. And then she took into alcohol, drugs, despite whatever. And in the end, she was found drowned in a bathtub because of substance abuse, too much of drugs. Why would they do that? Isn't that some form of suicide? Then there's Amy Winehouse, very famous Grammy Award winner, singer. She also committed suicide. Jonathan Brandis, very young model, young boy, teenager, 20-something only. Good looking also. He was, DSV Sequest and all that. He killed himself. River Phoenix, young, good looking, actor, very famous. Used to act in a lot of nice movies. Killed, committed suicide. Elvis Presley, substance abuse, went into drugs and died. Kurt Cobain, the drummer of Nirvana band, right, died. Robin Williams, you know, Mrs. Doubtfire, or in Tamil movie Ave Shanmughi. So he's the original person who acted. Very amazing comedy. In fact, Robin Williams' death, I don't want to put their pictures here because they all died in a horrible way. So that's why I didn't put the pictures. But Robin Williams, no, he remains one of the most baffling suicides in Hollywood. People don't know why he committed suicide. He was a comedian. Can you imagine? A comedian who made other people laugh. He was always bubbly, but he committed suicide. Of course, we all know Sushant Singh, right? It's been sensationalized recently. He also committed suicide. Good looking, you know, popular. You may think, you know, why? Of course, there are rumors and all that, but still. So this means that name, fame, glory, beauty, power, it doesn't immunize you. It doesn't vaccinate you against loss of peace, loss of happiness, or loss of success. Loss of satisfaction. It's not just celebrities. You know, you may think, you know, celebrities, they have a very stressful life. No, it's also scientists. Example, you know, 7 Nobel Prize winners have committed suicide over the years. And then we have another very famous scientist, Ludwig Boltzmann. If you study science, like engineering, he's one of the fathers of thermodynamics. We have the Stefan Boltzmann constant. So it's named after this person, Ludwig Boltzmann, Austrian physicist and scientist who committed suicide. He had everything. Edwin Armstrong. Now, this is a very interesting guy. He's an American electrical engineer and an inventor. And he's been called the most prolific and influential inventor in radio history. He invented many things to develop radio, you know, and he patented, and he also invented the frequency modulation. That means that's basically the cornerstone of radio. Without that, we would not have radio, we would not have telephone, we would not have internet, nothing. He's the foundation of that. He committed suicide. Not only scientists, there are many more. I'm just putting a few. There are many other scientists. There are many more celebrities. I'm just putting a few. Now I'm talking about some others. This is Ernest Hemingway, a very famous author. He won the Pulitzer Prize, one of the most famous authors in the world last time. Vincent van Gogh, he's a Dutch painter, one of the most famous Dutch painters in the world. Chris Benoit. Now, this fella, if you follow wrestling, he's one of the pro wrestlers. His death is rather crazy. He killed himself, he hanged himself after shooting his wife and child. And then he hanged himself. He was very popular. He won many awards in the wrestling area, right? Then there is this person. It's not only these people, there is also royalty. You may think, you know, but there are people who are royals, who are born in royal families, who kill themselves. Example, Alfred, Prince of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. He's one of the British royal persons, and he was heir to the duchy, in fact, and he was related to the King Frederick of Germany and also to the Tsar of Russia at that time. So he killed himself at the age of 20-something. He shot himself. So if you want to find more, I've given you links here. Royalties, royalty deaths, people who are in the royal family and who committed suicide. And then you can find even American politicians. One of them is, I forgot his name. Anyway, there are many who committed. So my point here is not to depress you, is to tell you that this, if you ask the genie that I want this, I want wealth, name, fame, glory, I want beauty, I want these kind of things. And if you think that will give you happiness, if you think that will give you peace, if you think you can change your body, if you think you can change your body shape, and that will give me peace, because there will always be people who will make fun, all kinds of things. You know, there are many thin people or even beautiful people who have committed suicide. So then you may ask, where is happiness? Where is this happiness? How can there be any happiness without peace? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2.66, even before happiness is a higher thing, even before you ask for happiness, you should first of all have peace. You cannot have happiness if your life is not peaceful. That's basic first, right? So then people say, you know, the purpose of all war is peace. No justice, no peace. So the world currently doesn't really have much scope for peace. So where is this happiness? So from the evidence, we know where it's not. For whatever I've been talking to you today, right? I'm trying to tell you where it's not found. Happiness is not found where? It's not found in material success. Somebody mentioned success just now. What do you mean by success? Success means material success, isn't it? To become the best person or, you know, whatever. So these things are not going to make you happy if you think it's going to, because there are many people who have had them who did not become happy. We know there are many reasons for this. Why? Because it requires so much of effort. So much of effort to get that success. If you want to be the best Olympic person, right? You know how much of pain and how much of time and effort one has to put in order to achieve that. So much of effort just for one gold medal, for that one moment. You know, there's a song by Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time. So just for that one moment, years and years of suffering, years of effort. And in the end, after that one moment, somebody has broken that person's record. And then that person is completely forgotten. So high effort for flickering reward does not last. It doesn't last. It's just temporary. It's called retail therapy. For example, I may say, if only I had this beautiful car rather than the car I'm currently having. Oh, yo, if I had this nice car, I'll be so happy. You buy it, first day you're very happy. Second day, you are a little less happy. After 1 month, it becomes that car became just a car. You understand what I'm saying? So that is retail, it's temporary, it doesn't last. It becomes stale. After some time, I wish I could sell this car, isn't it? So it becomes stale. You know, someone watches a movie for the first time, Huyo, so nice la. Watch 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, then okay, I want something else. So it becomes poison in the end. If you keep watching it again and again and again, or if you keep eating it again and again and again, then you'll eventually say, I cannot, I'm sick of it. The word sick becomes the word, right? Becomes stale. So material success you have limited capacity to enjoy that material success. For example, I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse, people will say, or I could eat a forest. But then you go to a feast, how much can you actually eat? Out of greed, you'll take and put all kinds of things in our plate. But then after that, oh, I'm so full, I cannot eat anymore. I feel like vomiting. Can you help me to finish? So, you know, that kind of thing will come. So even if we want to enjoy, we cannot. We are not able to. So the capacity to enjoy, even if you had so much of money, what would you do with it, right? You cannot really fully enjoy to the satisfaction that you actually want. And it is illusory, just temporary distraction. For example, you know, you are very, very hungry. The child is very, very hungry. The baby is crying, but the mother doesn't have food ready yet. So the mother quickly gives the child a toy, a new toy. And then the child, for a while, he is distracted. But does it solve his real problem? It doesn't solve the real problem. Eventually, even that toy also, the child gets tired of it and throws it away. And then you have to keep getting new toys for the child, isn't it? So leads to problems, extra worry. If you have something valuable, you need a vault for it, isn't it? You need to invest in expensive systems, security. You need to get a dog, you need to get 10 dogs, you need to get a guard, you need to get 10 guards, you need to get a vault. So a lot of problems. invites people to come and take it away. Dissatisfaction, always there'll be somebody better. You've bought a car, then your neighbor gets a better car, and then you become envious of him. So high effort for maintenance, stressful lifestyle, right? Things begin to fade. It doesn't last forever. Deteriorate. It goes out of fashion. You are no longer the vogue. That person who used to be most popular 10 years ago is no longer popular now. Nobody remembers that person's name already. For example, if I say Elvis Presley, you don't care about Elvis Presley. Others, not at all that impressed. Actually, if you have all these things also, people are not all that impressed. They make a show that they are impressed, but secretly they are very envious of you. They become your secret enemies. Your number of secret enemies start to increase. Someone always has better. And the proof of the pudding is, final proof, those who have it all are in the end not happy also, not peaceful. The example I gave was all the suicides. Okay, so I'm taking too much of your time. So I will talk about part 2 in the next class. Okay, so I want you to think about it now. Imagine you are the person and you got the Chintamani gem. I didn't finish the story also. I will finish it the next time. All right. So think about now that you know all these things, think about what would you actually ask the genie? Or if you had the Chintamani gem, what would you really ask for? So, and then we will have this discussion next week. Okay. So now let me just look at the chat. Okay, a lot of things in the chat. That's very nice. Let me just go through one of them. So many. I think I have, okay, yes, same. Aditya is saying, I used to do that before. Okay, now this is nothing. Satisfaction of the sense. Okay, Aditya is saying, I used to do that before when I liked football. Looking back now, I realize how childish it is. Wonderful realization, Aditya. I was just waiting when you will realize this. Because last time we used to talk about football quite a lot. And I was just wondering when you, good, it's you know, football should be played. Football should not be talked about. Football should not be watched. It's not for watching, it's not for talking, it's for playing. That's it. That's all. Period. Because the problem with football is it has become hijacked by sex, by alcohol, and by gambling. So people who talk football are usually people who are addicted to these 3 things in the end. You cannot separate them. So that's what has happened. So very happy that you came to that realization. Okay, let's see what else you said. Okay, Aditya, you said, but I think in order for us to feel peaceful, we need to be grateful. Yes, certainly, we need to be grateful. That's very important point. We will talk about that next week. The way we are most satisfied with ourselves. Okay, I will talk about grateful, but we need to also understand what are the real things that can give us happiness. What are the real things that we need to be grateful for? Because, yes, we know we need to be grateful, but people don't really know sometimes what are the real things that can actually give us this happiness. So we will talk about that next week. So I hope you all can come. Okay, what else you said? Okay, yes. My parents don't allow me to order online food. Okay, that's okay, fine. I have to make my own food. Hare Krishna Naidu said that. It's good. They're teaching you some, you know, until now I can tell you I've never ordered anything in Grab also. So let's see. I know the value of Saturday and Sunday. That's very nice. Wintech. Is that how you say it? Road rage. Aditya knows about that. Okay, they fail to take health precautions. Yes, Ray 29. Rotary rotary engines. Okay, again. Solar panels. Yes, not everyone can afford. Hare Krishna Naidu has said. Okay. What else? People nowadays will never understand the value of money until they work. Very wise words, Aditya. Yes, thank you for that statement. Japan. Okay, let's see what else you've said. Japan got suicide forest. The advancement of country becomes the higher the suicide rates. Okay, I've answered the Malaysia part. Wealth is not necessarily a curse. Aditya mentioned here, looks like wealth is not a blessing but a curse. It's not a curse, it's not a blessing, because it doesn't function in the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't give you satisfaction, it doesn't give you peace, but it is definitely useful. We will talk about that next time, next week, right? Okay. Ray 29 says, if Krishna gives material gifts, where are the disadvantages along with it as well? There are disadvantages. Yes, there are disadvantages, but only for people who don't know how to use them correctly. So we will talk about that next week also. Okay, Hare Krishna, you've heard of Marilyn Monroe. That's nice. Murdered, not really actually. Let's see what else. Media has gone crazy. Yes, certainly. It is bright. It is hijacked by greedy people, and they use lust as a way to. Okay, let's see what else. I guess the biggest thing which could really is when you buy the car and you've been. Okay, fine. All right, so that's it. Thank you for all your chats. Thank you for all your feedback. So we will see you next week. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed the class. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for being interactive as well. I hope more of you can be interactive next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu.
Hare Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasinjubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.